Before we begin, exciting news. Our official website is now live at starbounduniverse.com. There you can explore our channels, discover new series, meet our narrators, and pick up exclusive merch to support us. If you sign up for our newsletter, you'll get written versions of our stories to your inbox every week, along with character lore and sneak peeks of upcoming series. Check the description for the link or just head to starbounduniverse.com. Now, let's get to today's story. His pirate crew rejoiced in triumph at their victory, and Savix smiled as he read the words on the datapad of one of his hostages. Hold up, humans are on their way. The Zihul pirate captain stood in the center of the ransacked warehouse, his massive reptilian form way taller than most members of his species. At nearly 3 meters tall, Savix cut an imposing figure. His scaled hide, a mottled pattern of deep emerald and yellow, caught the industrial lighting as he moved. His elongated snout, reminiscent of Earth's ancient crocodilians, split into a toothy grin that would have frozen the blood of any mammalian species. Yellow eyes with vertical slits surveyed his domain with predatory satisfaction. Around him, dozens of Briacs cowered in makeshift restraints. The small, pink-skinned bipeds barely reached Savix's waist, their soft, hairless bodies trembling with fear. Their large, dark eyes, evolved for the dim tunnels of their homeworld, blinked rapidly in the bright lights. These pathetic creatures had allied themselves with humanity, and now they would pay the price for choosing the wrong side. "Captain Savix!" The guttural call came from Isiax, one of his lieutenants, who approached with another datapad clutched in his clawed hand. Behind him, Ilivi, a younger Zihul with scales of burnt orange, carried 2 more devices. "We're seeing the same message on multiple hostage devices, all variations of warnings about human reinforcements." Savix's tail lashed dismissively, the bone spikes clattering against a nearby cargo container. "This can easily be a fake transmission. And what would be the difference if more humans came?" He gestured toward the smoke still rising from the colony's residential district, visible through the warehouse's massive viewports. "The ones here couldn't survive our surprise orbital bombardment. They barely managed to return fire before we reduced their defenses to molten slag." He kicked at a piece of debris, what had once been part of a human defensive turret. "These pink worms were even more pathetic. Didn't even try to fight, just scurried underground like the prey they are."
"But, Captain, those humans were civilians,"
Ilivi began, his younger voice carrying a note of uncertainty. "Keep loading the ships," Savix roared, his voice echoing through the cavernous space. "Every moment we waste is profit lost." He turned back to survey the operation, satisfied as his crew immediately returned to their tasks with renewed vigor. The warehouse bustled with organized chaos as nearly 100 Zihul pirates worked in coordinated teams. Some operated heavy lifting mechs, their mechanical arms groaning under the weight of industrial fabricators and mining equipment. Others formed chains, passing smaller items, cases of rare minerals, medical supplies, advanced computing cores, from hand to clawed hand up the loading ramps of their vessels. 3 sleek raiding vessels sat in the warehouse's docking bay, their dark hulls scarred from countless previous raids. The largest, Savix's flagship, Blood Tide, dominated the center position. Its cargo holds gaped open like hungry mouths, steadily filling with the fruits of their conquest. To either side, the smaller attack craft took on their own shares of plunder. Beyond them, through the atmospheric barrier that separated the dock from the colony's thin atmosphere, 2 more ships of their fleet maintained overwatch positions. Savix prowled among his crew, occasionally stopping to examine a particularly valuable piece of technology or to cuff a pirate he deemed to be working too slowly. The colony had been even richer than their intelligence suggested. "Careful with those containment units," he snarled at a group struggling with a sealed cylinder. "Breach one of those and we'll all be breathing radiation for the next cycle." The pirates worked as a team, the result of dozens of similar raids across the frontier. They knew their roles: strip everything of value, leave nothing useful behind, and be gone before any organized response could materialize. It was a strategy that had served them well for years, hitting isolated colonies and outposts where help was always too far away to matter. Isyax appeared at his shoulder again.
Loading is at 70%, Captain. We should be ready to depart within the hour.
Good. Savix's forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air.
Make sure the navigators have calculated our jump coordinates. I want us gone the moment the last crate is secured. Already done, Captain. 3 randomized jumps before we reach the fence at Darkwater Station.
Savix nodded approvingly. The Darkwater fence would pay well for human technology, no questions asked. And the Briacs? Well, there was always a market for exotic slaves, especially ones known for their technical aptitude. Some crew might keep a few as pets or servants. The thought amused him. These allies of humanity reduced to scrubbing deck plates and serving food to their conquerors. He was contemplating which of the prisoners might make an entertaining addition to his personal staff when it happened. The ceiling above them began to glow. Not the entire ceiling. Specific points arranged in tactical positions throughout the warehouse. Circles of brilliant white light, each perhaps 2 meters in diameter, that seemed to burn through the very metal itself. The temperature didn't change. No debris fell, but the lights grew brighter with each passing second.
"What in the void?"
someone began. Then the circles vanished, leaving perfectly smooth holes in their wake. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. And then the warehouse erupted into chaos. Dark cylinders dropped through each hole, hitting the floor with metallic clangs that echoed like funeral bells. Smoke billowed out in thick clouds, reducing visibility to mere meters. A high-pitched whine built to painful levels before resolving into a series of sharp cracks. Stun grenades detonated in sequence, the photonic bursts overloading optical nerves and sending pirates stumbling blindly. Through the smoke came shapes, bipedal but bulkier, encased in advanced combat armor that seemed to drink in the available light. They descended on cables, weapons already tracking targets before their boots hit the ground. The distinctive crack of human railguns split the air, and the pirate nearest to Savix sprouted a fist-sized hole in his chest before crumpling.
"Ambush! Human forces!"
someone screamed. Savix's combat instincts, honed by decades of raiding, kicked in faster than most. While his crew milled in confusion, firing wildly into the smoke, he was already moving. The main ship, the Blood Tide, sat 100 meters away through the docking tunnel. If he could reach it, get the engines online, he could escape. Let the others buy him time with their lives if necessary. He dropped to all fours, using his tail for balance as he sprinted toward the docking bay. His powerful legs propelled him forward in great bounds, claws finding purchase on the smooth floor. Behind him, the sounds of battle intensified, the sharp reports of human weapons, the deeper boom of Zihul plasma rifles, screams of pain and rage in multiple languages. A human soldier materialized from the smoke ahead of him. Savix didn't slow, instead lowering his head and driving forward with all his mass. The impact sent the human flying, armor crumpling under the assault. 60 meters to the ship. He could see the loading ramp still extending, inviting. A few of his crew had the same idea, racing for the vessels. Most didn't make it, picked off by precise shots from the human special forces who seemed to be everywhere at once. The smoke was clearing now, revealing the full scope of the assault. At least 2 full squads had breached the warehouse, and they moved with lethal coordination. 40 meters. A stun grenade detonated near his head, sending him stumbling. His vision swam with phantom colors, but he forced himself forward. 20 meters. So close. The ramp beckoned like salvation itself. He could already imagine himself at the controls, bringing the ship's weapons online, blasting his way free of this trap. He never saw the human who took him down. A weight slammed into him from above, driving him into the deck plates with crushing force. He tried to roll, to bring his claws and tail spikes into play, but his attacker had positioned themselves perfectly. An armored knee pressed into his spine, pinning his tail, while hands like iron visors caught his wrists and wrenched them behind his back. The whine of a jetpack explained the aerial assault. The humans weren't just coming through the ceiling.
Got a runner here!
His captor called out, voice distorted by their helmet speakers.
Big one! Looks like command staff!
Savix thrashed wildly, muscles straining against the restraints being applied to his limbs. High tensile carbon fiber wrapped around his wrists, ankles, and tail, tightening with mechanical precision. He tried to fire the concealed plasma derringer built into his prosthetic claw, only to find it had already been disabled. The human had known exactly where to apply the neutralizing field.
No! I am Captain Savix of the Zeul Confederation! I demand!
Without replying, the human hauled him upright with surprising strength, the jetpack's residual thrust helping to manage his considerable mass.
Move!
They half-dragged, half-marched him back toward the warehouse center. The smoke had cleared enough to reveal the aftermath of the brief, vicious battle. Zeul bodies lay scattered across the floor, most sporting the precise wounds that spoke of professional soldiers who shot to kill. The survivors, perhaps 30 of his original 100, knelt in rows, hands secured behind their backs, heads bowed in defeat. Human soldiers moved among them, checking restraints and treating the few non-fatal wounds. The Briax prisoners watched with expressions Savix couldn't quite read. Not joy exactly, but something like grim satisfaction. One of them still clutched the datapad that had shown the warning message. They'd known. Somehow, they'd known the humans were coming and had tried to warn him.
What will happen to me?
Savix asked as his captor forced him to his knees among the other prisoners. Around them, more human soldiers were arriving, some beginning to catalog the stolen goods, while others set up what looked like processing stations.
I have rights under the Treaty of Kalos. I demand to speak with...
What happens to you? The human's voice was soft, almost conversational. He straightened, checking his weapon before turning to rejoin his unit and saying a single word. Consequences. The word hung in the air like a promise, and for the first time since he'd taken up the pirate's life, Savix truly understood what it meant to be afraid. He'd raided dozens of colonies, killed hundreds, maybe thousands. It had always been easy, profitable, consequence-free. Hit the weak, take what you want, disappear into the void. But humans arrived fast. Too fast. Savix had rejoiced in triumph. Now, he and his crew would learn the price of their celebration.